My name is Dennis Stout. I enlisted in the Army in 1966, and I enlisted airborne infantry unassigned because I wanted to be a helicopter pilot, but they told me I couldn't enlist to be a helicopter pilot. So I put it down as a preference. And since I was enlisted, I just went down for my physical. But a lot of guys were drafted. And when I went down for my physical, they were getting their physicals. And they told them, if we accept you, you'll be able to go home and make arrangements and, do things before you have to enter service, which wasn't true at all. On the day they went down for their physical, if they were approved, they were immediately taken into the military. The guys who were going to the Marine Corps were put on buses and taken to San Francisco. And the guys who were going into the Army were taken to the airport and flown to one of the training centers. So that's how people got in. I wound up even though I scored top on all the tests for helicopter flying, I wound up in the 101st Airborne Infantry. And I went to Vietnam in 1966 and 67. And I went there and I was in the infantry for 6 months. And then the Army found out that I used to freelance magazine articles, so they made me a reporter. And as a reporter, I had all this freedom. I could go out with any unit I wanted to. And so I mostly chose to go out with the recon unit called Tiger Force. Several reasons. One, they were freer. They could carry any weapon they wanted, wear what they wanted, and be out in the jungle all the time, which I liked much better than being back in the rear where all the officers were. And also, they were the source of stories. I had to turn in 2 stories a week, and I could get a lot more stories from them than I could from other people. So I did go with all the units, but I spent a lot of my time with Tiger Force. And I had to turn in, 2 stories a week, and very few of them got published. But I finally came home 8 days before my year was up because I was wounded a 3rd time. And the rule was 3 wounds and you're out. So when I was 8 days short, I got wounded again, and so they let me leave. And then I was sent to Fort Huachuca in Arizona because it was the Army hospital nearest my home in Phoenix. I had 2 bone surgeries at Bliss Hospital, and then I trained troops for the rest of my enlistment. But part of that enlistment, I had a cast on from my hip to my ankle. And then finally the cast was off, but I stayed there and kept training troops until I got out of the Army. And then I got out and went to Arizona State University for a while. It was very hard for me to adjust to civilian life, and I wanted to get out of the country. So the farthest I could go without a passport was Hawaii. So I went there for 2 weeks to help a guy frame a house, stayed 18 years, raised my daughters there, and started my road back. And the part of coming back was when I went to Hawaii, I had a farm. I had a house first, and I sold the house at a profit, used the money to buy a small acreage, and built a dome on it and farmed. And farming was very good for coming back because I only had to worry about the world between that boundary and that boundary and that one and that one. I didn't have to worry about anything else in the world. And I had a relationship with my milk cows, and I grew bananas and taro root, and built the dome, and I had a life that I could handle and where I could think and where it gave me a chance to adjust to the world again. So I think being able to do the farming was a big thing. Before the war, I was a pre-med student. After the war, I became an ag student. Scene.